Coffee around the world is the second most global goods that has been traded around the world, right after fuel, for example, petroleum. In the changes of climate for the future projections, the impacts of climate in coffee productions are severely seen among the developing countries particularly. So we would like to assess the bias corrected datasets to assess climate projections for coffee suitability. So to know that global coffee production significantly has economic value, and obviously it is such a beverage that has been popular in the world significantly, and it has significant relationships of economy for small scale producers significantly. That is why economy, it doesn't have only local value or global beverage value, it has significant economic value for particularly small scale producers. That is why if we look at the climate changes that has significant impacts on reducing the suitable region for coffee production. So then this research to understand the environmental conditions with the bias corrected data, this research was conducted to understand the trends and in the suitable regions for coffee production. So obviously, while we look at the coffee production, global top rank countries are obviously one of them Brazil, Ethiopia within the range as well, Vietnam, Indonesia, and also their amount of production we can see from the Food and Agricultural Organization datasets, and from those bias corrected datasets in these future projections for coffee production is significantly required to assess and update, because why of the impacts in the developing countries significantly. So as we know that coffee is one of the global good traded around the world, environmental conditions, changes in the temperature or the bioclimatic variables, for example, that we can see that how we can classify this from the temperature datasets or rainfall datasets from the locals, and approach this to understand the changes in the suitable regions. So we have classified about 4 regions to scale from 0 to 4, 0 to 3 to understand low to high suitable region. So in general, if we look at the map, it looks like that the very suitable region significantly decreasing around the world, and from the very suitable region for the low climate variation to the high variation at high climate change scenarios, coffee production almost halfly reduced. And then if we really zoom at, for example, very high class production countries, for example, Ethiopia, and also Madagascar, for example, which is also within the top 10, and also Vietnam, which climate is very diverse with the local variations, altitudes, and all. So these local changes show that the climate change impacts more likely to impact per decade. And if we look at the global scenarios for at higher or extreme cases, the significant disappearance are seen. So in these sort of results, actually the strength for impacts from climate itself is not the concern for that coffee will never grow or will no longer grow. It actually signifies that the most local weather condition which is suitable for growing coffee will significantly reduce. That actually imply the strength of producing coffee, the cost of growing coffee for artificial engineering, for example, irrigation or providing shadow for coffee growing, will increase the cost of local production. That actually refers to global coffee users like us, is actually referring that the cost of coffee production increases, that means when we are buying the coffee is going to be increased. So in general, if we at a low scenario of sorry at low changes of the climate scenario, or high extreme changes in the climate scenario, refers to that the magnitude may be more or less similar. However, from decadal or variation in the annual, decadal stay stood stronger. And the thing is, in the growth of coffee, particularly affected by the changes in the climate in the future projections, and it suffers mostly among the developing countries. And this bias corrected data gives the more reliability to understand how coffee production will require more artificial engineering and require more cost associated with this, that has significant impacts in the economy as well. So we should more likely look at these datasets or update our research according to the global scenario.